Thursday, if that's a good expression, which I guess it's as good as any, right? Let's begin by just centering. Just take a deep breath. And if you're driving, then obviously don't close your eyes. But if you're not, then you can close your eyes. And breathe out. And for the next few minutes, simply be here right now. Love and truth walk together. Love and truth walk together. First quote is from a Houstonian, Brené Brown, who says, integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. Or, if you want to put it simply, practice what you preach. Let every thought of doubt vanish from your mind, that I may know the truth, and the truth may make me free. That's Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind. Kind of extended quote from the Christian scriptures. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Love and truth walk together, hand in hand. In the spiritual life, love does not withdraw from honesty, nor does courage avoid vulnerability. Truth spoken from love arises from the deeper knowing of spirit that connects all things. When you speak from this place, your words become acts of compassion and clarity that uplift rather than divide. In this sacred exchange, love holds space for vulnerability, honoring each person's inner light while inviting greater openness and understanding. You know, I wish our politicians of all ilks, all types, would learn this. In addition to the ones of us who are on a spiritual journey and attempting to do this, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, I just wish our politicians would have a go at it as well. Continuing on with Reverend Soni, who says, today, invite love to guide your words. Notice moments when honesty is needed, not to prove a point or win an argument, but rather to create deeper understanding and shared presence. Speak your truth with warmth and listen as deeply as you speak, allowing silence to hold your awareness between words. You know, that's one of the hardest things to do in all of this, I think, that when we're in a conversation, quote unquote, sometimes we hear what the other person's saying, we understand what they're saying, but the only thing we want to do is to get our point over. So somebody tells us a story about an adventure or about a cruise or some kind of vacation, and we say, oh yeah, I know what you mean exactly, and then you start to tell your story. Sometimes it's better just to say, wow, that was incredibly interesting. Tell me more. That is not easy. It sounds easy, but it's not easy. Yep, sounds really good. Tell me a bit more. And she is also speaking on two levels here, on a more serious level, where she says, love does not hide from challenge. It engages with challenge gently and respectfully, transforming tension into opportunities for healing. And when I'm in mediation, that's what I'm trying to do, actually. I'm trying to convert the tension and sometimes the animosity into opportunities for healing relationships and coming to agreement. She goes on to say, truth spoken from love fosters reconciliation. It invites compassion where there was judgment, and it opens the way for unity within community. Courage is not loud or forceful. It's steady and it's guided by spirit. It chooses clarity over avoidance, connection over fear, and presence over projection, as in conversation. Notice how speaking truth from love changes the tone of your interactions and invites greater trust. When love and truth align in your actions and your words, you create space for deeper connection, for genuine understanding, and also for mutual spiritual growth. In other words, a shared journey toward greater wholeness and harmony. And I've added a few words in there in between. And that last one actually caught my attention. When love and truth align in your actions and words, you create space for deeper connection and genuine understanding. I had an aunt who was really proud of the fact that she always spoke the truth, even if it really hurt somebody, because she said, it's more important to speak the truth and get it out, and I don't care if it hurts them or not, they need to know it. Well, that's not what we're talking about here, because there's one word that's got to come into all of this when it's in its interactions with other people, and that's compassion. She was a wonderful lady. She had great principles, but the one thing that she lacked, at least in her interactions, was compassion. I think when she sat back and looked at her actions, she's probably sorry that she didn't put in compassion, but in my humble opinion, she didn't do that. So we have to put compassion into the mix as well, in my humble opinion. So those are my observations on this. I think it's great. And I speak truth with love. And I would say, added to that, I speak the truth with love and compassion. Maybe love implies that you're using compassion. My words build bridges and inspire understanding. My words build bridges and inspire understanding. So and they're pretty good, actually. They're good for everybody in everyday life. They're certainly good for politicians. They're good for people in business. They're good for people in spiritual communities. They're good for people in monasteries. They're good for people out in the fields. They're good for anybody, in my humble opinion. Well, I'll be back hopefully tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and my colleague Reverend Lisa will be around at 9:15-ish tomorrow. These are all Central Time, Central Daylight Savings Time, USA, Canada. And my knowingness for each and every one of us here is that we conduct our lives in honesty, compassion, and love. And I claim that this is the truth for each one of us. And I'm grateful for this, and I release it, call it done, and so it is. Namaste.